Facebook Live. We are here today with some of the wonderful practitioners of Ashati Wellness, where we're going to have dialogue and conversation on mental health and nutrition. I'm going to let them introduce themselves briefly of who they are and their roles, and then we'll get to the dialogue. I'll start with you, Spencer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Spencer, and I am an intern at Ashati Wellness and Yoga LLC. I'm also a Reiki Master Practitioner, and my history in nutritional knowings comes from a personal journey of just understanding how to use nutrition to kind of fuel my existence as a human being and honor and cherish my body. So that is where my nutritional background comes from.
You, Shay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shay White Joseph from Rock Hill, South Carolina. I am a medical consultant here at Ashati Wellness and Yoga. I'm also a yoga instructor. I have a prior history as a physician assistant in the field of internal medicine and family practice for 17 years. And my experience with nutrition and mental health comes from my own personal experience and how I transitioned from having several health-related disorders into totally being healthy, completely healthy by transitioning the foods that I put in my mouth. So Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm Asha Sims, owner, CEO of Ashati Wellness. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, holistic wellness energy practitioner, yoga instructor as well. And here at Ashati Wellness, we believe in providing holistic and integrative practices. What that looks like, it really depends on what you categorize as holistic. But our services, we take different approach to help the client to become whole. Within that, even though we provide mental health services, we also provide complementary services such as yoga. We have energy work, and Shay, with her medical background, provides a medical background knowledge to help us assess and look at a holistic approach on how we can treat a person, from understanding the medical background to integrating diets and the yoga to help improve many health imbalances. So we're noticing amongst our clients in our life, and as most of us here at Ashati Wellness, we believe in practicing what we promote. And that's where our passion is. And the passion always starts with yourself before you even turn it in part of a professional business a lot. But we've noticed, and I've noticed a lot in my clients, and why I wanted to bring this to a discussion on Facebook Live, is the correlation of depression and anxiety and off the high really correlates sometimes as simple of your diet. You know, and often when my clients come in, my intake assessments really go deep sometimes to ask first, you know, what are your eating habits? Like, what are you eating? You know, I want to know, are they plant-based? Are they, do they eat meat? Just knowing, helping to know what nutrients, what is their lifestyle, what is their stress level within their whole eating aspect, even their eating culture, because that's something we can talk a little bit later, because Spencer has a lot of background and work with our clients that experience in eating disorders as well, in the nutrition and that, and how it all turns into mental health imbalances. But yeah, depression and anxiety, when I really get to that core part of the health assessment, I see where they're not eating or not eating enough. So Shay, in your being here with us, and we work from an integrative, and that was one of the things you noticed when you was in your practice of so many other ways you saw that can help balance some things out. But, you know, even with prescription medication, I would say people even need to have more nutrients in their bodies because of the prescription, if that is their choice of how they're treating themselves. So just on the discussion of mental health and nutrition, what have you seen and what's occurring with our diets and how that impacts us?
Okay, first and foremost, let me start out just from a medical standpoint of the biology of all this. There's a direct connection between the brain and the gut, and that connection is via the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the biggest nerve in our body, and it's responsible for a lot of our bodily functions. So Case and scenario, our gut is lined with bacteria. We eat food. The food that we eat, external source, is filled with amino acids. Amino acids are the building block of our body in itself. So what we eat, whether it's good or bad, is being taken into our gut, where the amino acids is converted into neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters are messengers. They send information from the gut to the brain. Not only are amino acids converted into these neurotransmitters, the gut bacteria, whether it's good or bad, also helps to influence the production of these neurotransmitters. So here's an example. We're taking in, let's say that we eat pretty healthy, which healthy meaning you eat a vast amount of fruits and vegetables, you eat your legumes and your beans or whatnot, healthy proteins, your complex starches, which is not full of sugar. This enters into our gut, and the gut bacteria knows from chemical messengers that this is pretty healthy. So those amino acids from the food that we take in, it turns into neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine, which are feel-good hormones. These feel-good hormones send messages via the vagus nerve to our brain to cause us to be happy, to regulate our mood, to regulate our heartbeat, to regulate our contractions. It also has a big influence on how we eat, whether we're overeating or undereating. So that helps us to be able to live and walk out a life where we're feeling pretty good and we're not experiencing the high ends of emotion. Then on the reverse side of that, if we're eating a lot of processed foods, such as the fast food restaurants like McDonald's or Burger King, a lot of foods that are laden with heavy chemicals, that enters into our bodies. But what type of amino acid is that? That's not, those are synthetic, those are man-made, those don't have the energy quality to be able to help the amino acids convert to healthy neurotransmitters. And therefore the neurotransmitters, that production is low, which then sends these chemical messages to the brain. And then that's when symptoms of depression and anxiety starts to develop. So that's the basis of where these emotions come from. A lot of doctors first thought maybe that it was a chemical imbalance or emotional instability, but it has been scientifically proven that nutrition plays a significant role in how a person feels or what type of mood they're going to be in. So that's what I'm saying.
And that's so interesting because how you said, you know, they say your stomach is like a second brain.
It is.
With things. So how where our attention, many people hold it in their stomach, or
Right.
you know, I always come from that metaphysical aspect of things, that this is your solar plexus energy center of control and having control. But just in realizing how if stress is there, things you can't control or feeling helpless, where I try to get my clients to understand the mental health side, understanding how mental health plays in that. With what you said is that means your stomach produces more acid.
Right.
As if you're stressed, that hormone that maintains that then can produce more acid. That's where ulcers can come from.
Right.
But again, if you're not eating healthy and you have a lot of processed foods in your system with this overproduction of acid,
Right.
it can cause some major imbalances.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Not only in your digestive tract, but in your mental state as well. You know, I can give you an example. A lot of people, we joke around that after we've had a full meal, we want to sleep. And, you know, it's a lot of jokes and humor behind that, but actually that's not a good sign. That's a sign that you've taken in food that is not healthy for your body and that has actually dehydrated you on a cellular level, causing you to have less energy, and that's why you want to sleep. So that's not a good thing. You'll know when you've had the proper nutrition after eating, because you'll still have the energy to move forward and propel throughout your day.
Right. Spencer, I know you said even from what you're seeing with doing the work in the field and personal experiences, how would you say that you've seen or noticed or experienced how important nutrition is in maintaining a stable emotional and mental level?
Yeah. So many things. My mind is going in a bunch of different directions right now, but mainly what I see is it's a cycle. It becomes a cycle with regardless of what kind of either you're missing a nutrient or you have too much of the wrong nutrients or the wrong, not even really a nutrient, things in your body.
Yeah.
And then it starts to send these messages to your brain that that's what you should have. So, like with sugar, for example, and eating too much sugar, um, you become addicted to it, physically addicted to it. And to the point that your brain now starts telling you, I need more of that. I need more of that in order to even be happy. That's your
Mhm.
basically like the main way of producing dopamine is
Mhm.
just by intaking sugar. So I see that a lot. I see a lot of people who are unknowingly addicted to substances that are normalized within our society. So it seems like it's okay. But then if you really break it down, it's very detrimental to your physical and mental health. So
Mhm.
things like sugar, things like caffeine, even as well. I always go over caffeine intake with my clients immediately, especially if they tell me that they're experiencing anxiety or depression, because caffeine influences your sleep cycle. It peaks your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone.
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
it can cause your heart rate to go up. So I see a lot of things like that where people are ingesting things that are absolutely normalized within our society. No one would ever have a clue that these things are detrimental to our mental health,
Right.
but they are. And so
Mhm.
it becomes this experience where they'll, cut out a little bit of sugar or cut down to 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day instead of 5 and plus cups of coffee a day, and immediately notice this drastic decline in their stress and their anxiety and in their depression as well, because when you sleep better, you're not as suppressed and you're not as
Right.
stressed.
Right. Which even goes into the emotional aspect where you say that cycle is so deep because and getting a holistic approach of things and understanding, I like to ask my clients of a mood chart to pay attention to what they eat when they're in a certain mood because we don't realize how sometimes it's really our moods that control our diet. Even in the aspect that you could eat well and plant-based and then eat these chips only at certain times that you crave certain food. So that whole cycle of the craving, I always say, let's identify if you are sad, because it goes into that. If you're depressed and you know this piece of cake is going to bring you some type of joy, and you rationalize that this is my reward, I am deserving, I want something sweet, I want this. You don't realize how you place the intentions on what it is you're eating, and because of the sugar, it gives you a rush. So it is also a thing we have to look deeper of how many people really may have deeper level of food addictions than they really think they have, because it goes back into most people, even if they're having illnesses and we say, take this out, they look at you like they're ready to fight you. Like, that's the best thing out there. You're taking my joy away. Literally, that's how they feel. It becomes a chore. It becomes something hard
A
because really
punishment.
all of that because of the emotional attachment often that comes with this false sense of high. That's what people don't realize. They have highs off of food. And that's why we may crave certain things, because of that false sense of enlightenment when we eat it and then we crash.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Asha, it's a two-way street. You said your mood determines your diet, but your diet also determines your
Determines
mood.
your, so it's
Via
that balance, really.
Yep.
Exactly, via that
Mhm.
vagus nerve communication highway. So it's important to remember for those who are overindulging in food or who suffer from mental issues or mental disorders, that they have to be careful on the foods that they choose. They have to be mindful to choose foods that's high in fiber, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, folic acid, things that are going to send the right energetic message to the brain to allow them to feel better and actually to keep away sickness and disease.
Spencer, I know I do a lot of work with plant medicine, and part of the thing of helping our stress level because of the lack of foods that we eat that can help balance our stress and our body can't produce is intaking certain things that adaptogens that can help balance a lot, or your tolerance of stress, which can come in a lot of our green foods. It can come in mushrooms. What have you noticed have been the best herbal or natural supplements that can assist in balancing out, or at least being able to cope with things not as imbalanced, I guess, in some say, or give you more of the sense of sustainability?
Yeah. So I love adaptogens and I love cacao. So those are my go-tos. With the adaptogens, that is a broad term. So that can encompass, like you said, a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
My main go-tos are ashwagandha,
Yes.
schizandria, rhodiola rosea, lion's mane, which is a mushroom, turkey tail, which is a mushroom, and then cacao. There are a bunch of other ones, honestly, and they all do really powerful and great things. Those are all tailored to my sort of issues that I've noticed in myself over time. So I respond very badly to stress. When my stress goes up, I feel out of control, out of my emotions. And so I do a lot of things to eat and support my body so that I don't get to those high cortisol levels that start to make you literally lose your mind, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I love cacao for depression because of the amount of magnesium in it, which is something that I think 70% of Americans is the statistic are deficient,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy because magnesium is like a natural antidepressant. And
Mm-hmm.
just by, having a daily or every other day cup of cacao in your morning, little small amount, you're doing such amazing things for antidepressant benefits, and it's all natural and it's chocolate. So like where's the lose? I don't see one.
And that's the thing that people realize and try to say they eat chocolate. Oh, this is chocolate. It's good for the mood, but not realizing it's half the time it's the chocolate mixed with the sugar and the dairy that they're eating, not the pure chocolate. And it goes back to there's so much that is so good for our bodies in its pure form, but it's when it's broken down and processed that it loses a lot of its nutrients. And so that is why part of our balance in dealing with stress is so much in nature that we're not connected with nature. We don't sleep outside. We don't really sleep on the floor. We can get grounded. So we're more and more disconnected, and even our diets. So it is a lot of nutrients that we are missing in our bodies because of some of the lack of substance in the foods. Shay, what are some things, I know Spencer talked about the cacaos and things. I know sea moss is good, but what are some other things that can assist even before just in general balance of our health that's going to help our mental health to give us energy? Because we work a lot with women, and we're dealing a lot now with the hormonal imbalances and the mood swings, which still our cycles and even menopause and all those hormonal imbalances can be regulated too by our diet. So what are some things that on the other side that can be supplemented to bring some things back into balance?
Well, I can't speak enough about leafy green vegetables. They have, your essential vitamins and minerals and your magnesiums, whether it's kale, whether it's spinach, whether it's collard greens or broccoli or asparagus. Those are such powerful foods that carry high energetic frequencies in it to allow the neurotransmission connection to increase the serotonin and the dopamine production to allow you to feel good. Also, your butternut squashes, your almonds, your walnuts, your black beans, your red beans. I can't forget about fermented food. That helps to increase your good bacteria in your gut to help produce these neurotransmitters that we need to feel good. So just stay in the garden, stay with those food that has less ingredients, which is from God's green earth, and just be mindful of keeping your body hydrated. And I can't forget to mention proper exercising, whether it's walking, doing yoga, meditating, grounding, whatever it is that you can do to kind of boost your energetic level, that's what I would suggest.
Right. And I think that's so important. And one of the things that we do at Ashakti, I would definitely encourage you, for anybody that's listening, to even sign up for a health consultation with Shay, because of her benefit, her knowledge of the medical field and health, and some of the things she has overcome with her own health. To me, that makes her just a guru. When you can resolve and reverse your own health issues, Dr. Shay, that's what me and my child call her, any little illness in the house. Shay. But
it was my green vegetables,
right, and then it goes back down to it. Drink more water,
yeah.
put more fiber into your diet.
Yeah.
But I think what is offered, what I love, the component that we offer is, and how it complements us from the mental health side of being able to meet people where they are in their health needs and their diet needs, because diet is a cultural thing, it's an emotional thing as well. So every diet, I don't even like to call diets, because even like what we will be beginning and offering is our holistic weight management program, is weight management. I don't even like saying it's a diet, because at the end of the day, you can be running laps every day and not lose any weight.
Right.
And it could be something nutritional, or if you're still highly stressed, it's not getting absorbed into your body as it would if you're in a mental balance or emotional state. Because if too many hormones, that cortisol, it shuts everything else down. And so I think being able to assess people where they are in their personality, because like I tell people, I'm not doing the liquid detox. Unless it's life-threatening, I just have to be honest with my personality. I can do raw foods, I can do juices, and that works more than doing something that I already know is not for me and what I resonate with, and becomes more of a chore, discouraging, which adds to the depression of I can't even do a detox. So I think that's key of understanding everybody doesn't have to do the same way of weight loss or same juice or things. And you've worked wonderfully with people that hate vegetables. We really have some clients we work together on that eat meat and starch all the time, and having to reverse that thinking really helps you to understand how many people are addicted to certain things. And it's not even addicted, that's been their culture of that's how they eat. So to think anything different is really taking people out the norm. So understanding your culture, your personality when it comes to eating, and your emotional. And that's how I approach it in working with those that have weight issues, of let's get to the root of it. Because Spencer, you said something, I always tied into metaphysics, that when you get stressed, you feel emotionally out of control, which goes back to, that's the theme of the solar plexus chakra, of feeling in control. And that is how an addiction starts, because most people don't ever go into anything thinking they're not going to have control over it. They feel they have control. Mm-hmm. So whether it was having past experiences where they didn't have control, it becomes an oral fixation, and eating becomes that form of control. I just think when we talk about a holistic approach of diet and nutrition, we do have to address the conditions of our eating and mindset when you're eating. Mindfulness. Are you angry? Because you might have eaten a meal, but if you're not present and mindful when you eat, you will probably be hungry again in 45 minutes. Or I know for me, I was like, I ate all that. I didn't even realize I ate the whole sandwich. I was ready, after I stopped talking, ready to go back and finish it, and it was gone. And we wonder why we may have gas or hold on to weight in that area. So I think this is why it's so important to have the discussion for people who are trying to lose weight and can't seem to lose anymore, or even those clients that have had the gastric bypass surgeries and feel they're at a stalemate with losing weight. And I think we have to go back to the nutrients. We have to go back to the state of mind or the conditioning that may have been where the weight came from. So you don't have to recycle things with that. Shay, real briefly, you talk about not diet and nutrition. I always like for you to tell your story to understand how important in the miracle of us eating from the earth, how it heals. If you don't mind sharing that before we close out, because I think that's an important testimony for others to say, oh, I need to do this.
Oh, certainly, certainly. I in my early 40s, I thought I was pretty healthy. I thought I was eating pretty good. I was exercising. Got married. Long story short, got married, got pregnant, and had complications with my first pregnancy. And it was not because the age of me being pregnant, which some conventional doctors will call high risk these days. But it was, when in hindsight, it was because I wasn't replenishing my body with enough water after exercise, and that's why I went into preeclampsia.
Mhm.
But with that being
Look,
said,
as you say that, let me drink my water.
yes, please drink up, drink up. But after my baby was born, I was suffering from, I ended up having congestive heart failure during my pregnancy. I developed diabetes. The blood pressure issue came with the preeclampsia. I had chronic body pain, especially in my lower back, to the point where getting up from a seated position took a while. It took a while for me to actually straighten my spine up. I found myself in the ER, seemed like once or twice a month because of side effects of the 8 prescription medicines that I was taking. So I went from thinking I was pretty healthy to being on 8 medications for treatments, treatment for things such as congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, diabetes, and chronic pain. So having all these allergic reactions to these synthetic medicines, it just man-made. It takes the body a while to break it down. It takes the liver and the kidneys a hard time just kind of eliminating these products from the body. So they were floating around in my system, causing all kinds of ill effects. I went to my cardiologist. He was kind of livid with me because he didn't know what else to do. You know, he basically told me, you take this last medication or else. So he's basically telling me that if you don't take this last medication, you know, your life is going to end soon. He walked out the room, didn't say nothing else. And I walked out very, very scared and hurt. I had a 6-month-old baby at home, and I made up my mind that I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna change this. I'm not gonna leave this world and leave my baby here by herself. So I went home, researched natural ways to help with blood pressure. I started out with blood pressure, and I came up with cayenne pepper. Drink cayenne pepper is a hot tea. So I went to the store, bought some cayenne pepper, warmed some tea, sprinkled me some in there, and I started drinking. Within 2 weeks, the chronic pain was gone. I didn't get the cayenne pepper for pain. I got it for blood pressure. It eliminated the pain altogether. And then I went a step further and transitioned in my food. I'm like, Asha, I don't like the word diet because it makes you feel like that you're going to be missing out on something, or that your lollipop is going to be taken away from you at the age of 3. So I went on a food transition. I stopped fried foods. I stopped my white products such as white rice, sugars, breads. I completely stopped breads altogether. I stopped potatoes. And I was the hard knock. I did the complete juicing. I did a juicing cleanse transition for about 4 to 6 weeks straight. I do not recommend that for everyone. It's not for the faint at all, at the faint at heart. It was very difficult, but it got the job done. I was juicing my kale, my spinach, my freshly squeezed lemon juice. I would add ground flax seeds or chia seeds to help sweeten it. I would chop up some dates or some figs, and I had that as a meal. The first 2 weeks was very devastating and very hard, but after that,
the withdrawals, you go through the withdrawals.
My body was very angry with me because I was no longer feeding it the damaging things that caused me to have all kinds of health issues. So with that being said, I went from 183 pounds to about the low 120s within less than 3 months. I'll put it that way, less than 3 months. I juiced for about, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. And then at the end of the 6 weeks, I started adding solid meals like salads. If I added a meat, I would add like a palm size of grilled salmon. Or I would just eat fresh fruits and vegetables. But with that being said, initially with the congestive heart failure, my ejection fracture, which is the percentage at which your heart is pumping the blood and is beating, it was that of an 80-some-year-old individual,
Oh, wow.
33%. But after doing my food transition, I was able to reverse it, and it was again back in the normal range. And my new cardiologist, he said he's never seen that before in his life. He's never seen, first of all, an African-American woman or woman of color in her 40s who suffered from congestive heart failure ever bounce back to a normal range.
Nice.
So
Wow.
it really does matter what you put in your mouth. A lot of people think, oh,
Yeah.
I exercise, I run, I lift weights, but that's just maybe 10 to 15% of the journey. It's
It's the
really how
diet.
you have to control your palate. You have to have minds. You have to have a purpose in
Mhm.
why you want to do this, first of all, and you have to condition your mind that you're gonna follow through with your purpose by feeding your body healthy, energetic foods so they can feel better. And I feel great. I hate to count my age, but I
Mhm.
am. I just turned 53, but I don't feel like it. I have two small children. I have two children now. My second pregnancy, because I had reversed the congestive heart failure and I started eating better, I had no trouble with my second pregnancy at age
Wow.
45. So it is
Right.
possible. It is
Right.
definitely possible.
And we'll probably have to do another live about the whole thing of pregnancy and nutrition, because it
Yes.
has a lot to do with postpartum
Yes.
as well, with those nutritional imbalances. So before we close out, I know, Spencer, how would you say, and for those that are, in your opinion, do you feel we should come from a psychological approach in dealing with weight loss, or is it more physical? I know it's kind of both, but where would you say, when we look at how we work with the clients, and even when sometimes clients come from mental health needs, it's some other physical needs, where do you feel treatment begins, or the best way to assist somebody with weight management?
I believe that it starts with your mindset. I believe that if you don't have, here's a great example. People will start their diet on January 1st,
Mm-hmm.
and then by February 2nd, it's over. That's
Mm-hmm.
because the mindset going into it was, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to look like this other person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get this satisfaction somehow externally. Whereas it really needs to be about you. It needs to be about, like Shay just said, you have to have an intention behind it. You have to be mindful about what you're eating. And that is like half of the journey of any food readjustment, is just knowing what you're doing. Why are you eating it? And having a better understanding of your emotional state going into food
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then also understanding where it has been and where, like you were mentioning, culturally, how you've been raised to have an interaction with food for
Mhm.
certain reasons or in certain times. So long story short, it begins with a mindset, and then the other things sort of follow.
Right. That's it. Well, I thank you all for our time. And for those that are listening, hoping we have given you some great insights or a starting point. We invite you to come and visit us at Ashati Wellness. We do provide the therapeutic counseling side to help, just looking into yourself to see where some of your habits may come from. And that's why we believe in providing a holistic approach. Shay is there and offer wonderful coaching to help with detoxing or just getting a better understanding of your health issues. Many of us come from the doctor and we get that printout, or we can go online and look at our readouts. We don't know what it means. So Shay is wonderful with looking at that to help understand your levels and where changes in your diet can come in. Spencer has a lot of knowledge on itself, the plant medicine aspect, and also works with some clients with the eating disorders and helping us with the correlation of getting to the root issues to understand our diet, to put things in action. So Please look us up. Some of our services are offered virtual. We also provide yoga classes to help get into motion, and it's a nice way to reduce stress as well as burn calories. And I always say, don't let the fear of yoga intimidate you. It's just breathing and stretching. And sometimes that's all you need to get your body activated, to start the right hormones, to enlighten your mood. Sometimes it's just what you hold in your body, as well as not drinking water and not eating the right thing. And all that can be done without a diet. It's just about being mindful and reducing stress. So look very soon, we will be implementing our mind body holistic wellness weight management program to assist you in getting to the layers, literally the layers of your weight, so that whatever weight is there, we can balance it out, as long as you feel optimal in your health and your energy and your mental health well-being. So thank you all. Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you.
And you have a wonderful day. Blessings to all.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.